a new topic. It's elements of clause. This topic is the basic for English grammar. Let us start. Now we are going to learn about the grammatical hierarchy of English. Every language has its own hierarchy. So has English. When we think about the grammatical order of English, the first comes alphabets. You know that A, B, C, D to Z. But with the help of these alphabets, we make morphemes. Now what is morpheme? Let me explain. A morpheme is the smallest linguistic part of a word that can have a meaning. In other words, it is the smallest meaningful part of word. For example, if we take the word unbreakable, so here un, break and able are the three parts, and these three parts are morphemes which help to form a word. Then the words are combined together to make phrase. It may be one or more than one phrases in a sentence. Then phrases are combined to make clause. It may be one single clause or more than one clauses in a sentence. Then clauses are combined to make sentence. And in this way, we can say that alphabets, words, phrases, clauses and sentences make the part of this hierarchy. So here sentences are at the top of the hierarchy and alphabets at the lowest of the hierarchy. Let us explain it further with some examples. A to Z alphabets. We everybody know them very well. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. By combining these words together, alphabets together, we make a meaningful word. This is a very important word here, meaningful. We can't make a word having no sense at all. It should have some sense. For example, black is a word, hair is a word, curly is a word. By combining these three words together, I can make a meaningful phrase. Black curly hair should have a meaning. Then only we can call it a phrase. By combining one or more than one phrases, we make a sentence. Let us see. She is a girl with black curly hair. Now this is a clause, but it is a meaningful clause, so we can call it a sentence. She, it is one word, is a word, a girl, a phrase, with black curly hair, it is a prepositional phrase. So by bringing these phrases together, we have made here a meaningful clause. In the same way, by bringing or combining two or more than two clauses together, we make a meaningful sentence. For example, she is a girl who has black curly hair. So here in this sentence, she is a girl is one clause, who has black curly hair is another clause. And these two clauses combining together make one meaningful sentence. There are 5 elements of clause. They are subject, verb, object, adverbial and complement. These elements help to form a clause or a sentence. Now we are going to learn these elements one by one. But, but at first, we will learn the element verb. Now, let's learn about the very first element, verb. What is verb? It is a word that shows action. It denotes what a person, thing or animal does, that is, performs, what a person, thing or animal is, or what a person, thing or animal has. So we can say the verb shows action, someone or something being, or someone or something's possessions. There are two kinds of verbs, main verb and auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb is also known as helping verb. When we think about main verb, it is again classified in two types, regular verb and irregular verb. A verb that takes d or ed suffix to its past tense and past participle form is called regular verb. And a verb whose past tense and past participle forms are formed without d or ed suffix is called irregular verb. So irregular verbs are very differently formed. They do not take d or ed suffix while we make their past tense form and past participle forms. Let us learn this by some examples. With this chart, we can easily understand the difference between regular verbs and irregular verbs. Before that, let me tell you, there are four forms of verbs. Main verb, which is called root verb as well. Second form, main verb in past or past tense of main verb. Third form, past participle of main verb. And the fourth form, present participle of main verb. Present participle of main verb is very easy because it is formed just by adding ing suffix at the end of the main verb. Now let's learn what is irregular verb with some examples. For our understanding, we will classify them in four types: type 1, type 2, type 3 and type 4. The first type of irregular verbs are like this: to take, took, taken, and last is taking. Now why I have called it type 1 irregular verbs? Because here past and past participle are totally spelled differently, pronounced differently, and have their meanings different. To take, took, taken, taking. We can have more example of this type. To see, saw, seen, seen. To draw, drew, drawn, drawing. To sing, sang, sung, singing. So we can have such more examples in English. If we go through the dictionary, we can find them. Type 2 irregular verbs: to buy, bought, bought, buying. Why I have called it type 2? Because here the main verb in past and past participle, they are spelled same and they are pronounced with the same sound, but their meanings are different. We can also have many such examples like sit, sat, sat, sleep, slept, slept, bring, brought, brought. So we have many such examples of type 2 as well. Then type third, to come, came, come and coming. Now this is called type third because the main verb form and past participle form are same in spelling and pronunciation, but their meanings are different. We have a very few examples of this kind. To run, ran, run. To become, became, become. And the fourth type of irregular verb, I know everybody knows them very well. Cut, cut, cut and cutting. Here all three forms, main verb, past tense and past participle, are same in spelling, pronunciation, but they have difference in their meanings. We also have many such examples in English. Example, to put, putting. To cast, 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 casting. To spread, 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 spreading. To let, letting. To let, L-E-T. Why I have called them irregular verbs? Because no any verb either in the form of past tense or past participle form is formed by adding d or ed suffixes, but they are formed very differently. Then what is a regular verb? Last example here, it is an example of regular verb, because regular verbs are always formed by adding ed or d suffixes to the past tense and past participle form. So the example is play, played, played, playing. We have many such examples. To save, saved, saved, saving. To look, looked, looked, looking. Now play, play, we have just added ed suffix. But if I take the example like to save, S-A-V-E, already E is there in the last, so we will just add D there. So this is what the difference between regular verb and irregular verb. Let's move to the next part, that is auxiliary verb. Now let's know about the auxiliary verbs. They are also known as helping verbs. They are also classified in two main kinds. First one is primary auxiliaries, which is further divided in three types. First one is to be's forms. They are are in present, was were in past, shall be, will be in future. Second is to have's forms. Have has in present, had in past, shall have, will have in future. Third type is to do's forms. Do and does in present and did in past. The second main kind of auxiliary verb is modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries are very important in order to form the tenses, while modal auxiliaries have their different forms. Modal auxiliaries, in this word, the word modal is an adjective from mode. What does mode mean? Mode means a way, a style, a method. They are also in present and past form. Modal auxiliaries are can, could, might, shall, should, will, would, must, have to, has to, had to, ought to, and used to. Two more are there, dare and need. These last two modal auxiliaries that I spoke can be used both as modal auxiliaries as well as main verbs. A very important point that I want all students to keep in their mind. It is that modal auxiliaries always come with main verb. You should never forget it. Whenever you use a modal auxiliary in a sentence, it always comes with main verb, that is the root verb. Let's see some example. The very first example, Shri can swim better. Here after can, I have used swim, the main verb form. Second example, Shri could swim better. Now I have taken past tense of can, that is could here, but I haven't taken swam or swam, the past tense or past participle form of swim. Because the rule is what? Whether it is a can or could, means modal auxiliary, whether it is coming in past tense or present tense, they always take main verb with them. Never forget this. Let's understand this element verb by some examples. First example, we arrange the party. Here, arrange is verb because it shows some action. Second example, mighty Hercules had killed the lion. Here, verb is had killed because it shows the action of killing the lion. Third example, we all are walking by the shore. Here, the verb is are walking. Fourth example, she has been playing since morning. Here the verb phrase is has been playing. Fifth example, honey is sweet. In this example, verb is. Last example, the eagle has sharp pointed beak. Here the verb is has. Now you might have observed here how this element verb comes in the sentence. In all these sentences, if we observe, the verb has come alone in some sentences, while it has come along with auxiliary verb in some sentences. When it comes alone, that's okay, it is a verb phrase. But when it comes along with some auxiliary verbs, then that auxiliary verb should also be included in the verb phrase. As in the second sentence, had killed, had is auxiliary, killed is past participle of kill, so verb phrase had killed. In are walking, are is auxiliary and walking is present participle, so are walking is verb phrase. Has been playing, has been auxiliary and playing is a present participle of play, so has been playing is verb phrase. Now here is. Now in this statement, is not the auxiliary verb but functioning as the main verb, because this auxiliary is enough to complete its meaning. There is no need other verbs like walking, killing, arrange, playing to complete the meaning. Same about the sentence number 6. The eagle has. So here has alone is enough to complete the meaning. So in number 5 and 6, is and has are not the auxiliary verb, but they function as main verb or the actual verb. Why? Because they are enough to complete the meaning of that sentence. So just take down all these sentences in your notebook as I have given it here. Just you need to underline the verb form and write below the underline V. Okay.